Welcome aboard this aquabus, one of the most unique forms of transportation in all of Teyvat. This boat will take you from Romaritime Station to the Court of Fontaine. Normally, this line doesn't have many passengers, so you have your pick of the best seats. But you still have to follow all the passenger guidelines. These include not placing sharp tools flat on the chairs and not bringing overstuffed lunchboxes on board. We've had quarrels break out between passengers over things like that. Some even escalated into private brawls. Of course, Fontaine's rules state that if you want to fight, apply for a duel. So, those two passengers were promptly sent to the fortress of Meropede, where they went on to live peaceful, disciplined, and well-mannered lives. So, all's well that ends well, but please do not follow their example. Passengers, the aquabus is now arriving at Poisson Tunnel. Though much of Fontaine is covered by water, there are also beautiful mountains and forests here. Mont Altenquille is one of our most iconic peaks. Lots of adventurers enjoy camping on its summit. I heartily recommend the experience to all visitors. With that said, visitors should also pay attention to personal safety and hire some locals or Clockwork Mecha as bodyguards. Fontaine has a lot of alabaster-toned buildings, all built with a special type of stone called tear stone. An educational column in the Steambird said it was only after an incident a few hundred years ago that this type of stone was discovered by the people of Fontaine. Hidden deep underground, it looks completely ordinary from the outside. The inside, however, is filled with a pearly white substance, which, if processed using the right method, turns into a very sturdy material. But just what kind of incident could bring this kind of rock up from below? In the past, people could only discover secrets within stones by breaking huge boulders apart. Passengers, just to the outside of the track, there's a towering building. That's blocking your view. Behind it, you'll find the pride of the people of Fontaine, the Opera Epiclese. The Opera House is the highest court where Fontaine holds its trials, so it's no exaggeration to say that it's one of the most important buildings in the nation. Of course, normal artistic performances are staged there too, but those can sometimes be a bit too avant-garde and confusing. Trials are much more interesting because Monsieur Neuvillette will always be present. I really want to ditch work right now and go watch a trial. No, bad Aeval. You're a model tour guide. How can you think about doing something so irresponsible? Okay, listen up. We'll be arriving shortly at the final destination of this tour, the Court of Fontaine. Please remember to bring your personal belongings with you and mind the gap between the deck and platform as you disembark. I've heard that in some nations, the locals will make special hand gestures to convey their best wishes to the passengers. But we Melazines don't have any traditions like that. However, some Melazines will doff their hats in the direction of Elinas. Or if they don't have a hat, they'll show their regards with their eyes.
Please, watch your step.
I hope to see you next time. It's time to set sail. Let's go! Welcome aboard the Clementine line. I am top-rated tour guide Aeval, at your service. I would like to ask our guests from abroad, did you bring any light and breathable clothing? The land of Fontaine is mostly covered by temperate waters, and there's only a minimal temperature difference between day and night. It's relatively warm all year round. The humidity is also very high, so it's easy to end up sweating even after light physical activity. Some tourists may even find it a bit hot and muggy. Oh, come to think of it, maybe I shouldn't have said the land of Fontaine, but the waters of Fontaine instead. Look, everyone! Approaching us up ahead is Mont Altenquille, which lies between the port and the court. Though not particularly steep, if our course were to wind around the top of the mountain, our little boat wouldn't be stable and calm like this, but a white-knuckle water park ride. When they were building the waterways, they had to invite experts from the Fontaine Research Institute. The experts brought huge, amazing machines and bored a hole through molten key. It really was a massive project. When touring Fontaine at night, if you're unfortunate enough to be out during scheduled streetlight maintenance or run into an unlit alley, worry not. Because Fontaine's public security is absolutely top-notch. Just shout out, "Help! Save me!" And a nearby Gardamech will come to your assistance immediately. And even if the Gardamechs haven't been maintained properly and can't hear your screams, so you end up being mugged and losing your valuables, you can file a complaint at Maison Gardiennage or send the scoop to the Steambird. Before you know it, you'll get a huge settlement. One way or another, you definitely won't come out poorer. Of course, I don't recommend staging a fake robbery to try and earn money from this. People who do that will end up on the Fasari Passages blacklist and won't be able to buy anything. Centuries ago, Palais Mermonia hired half the workers in the court of Fontaine to build the Opera Epiclese. So many building materials were sent in. They were piled into a small hill on the shore. The income from these orders alone made many workshop owners obscenely rich. They had so much more, they felt safe investing in all kinds of other businesses. And even the workers building the opera house got such fat paychecks after the beginning of the project that they could work without any worry or hurry. So they took their time to make the place even more beautiful. So the construction of Opera Epiclese gave a huge boost to Fontaine's economy. After a long journey, the Aquabus has finally arrived at the grand and prosperous court of Fontaine. Please don't forget your personal belongings and disembark slowly. No need to rush. If you're tired after a long journey and eager to fill that rumbling tummy, I recommend giving Hotel de Boer a try. Though the food there is crazy expensive and not exactly suitable for Melusines, tourists have always given it great reviews, and sometimes there are even special performances. For tourists from abroad, it's absolutely worth a trip. The ferry has set sail! Tour guide Aeval at your service! I'll start by telling you a bit about our destination, Romaritime Harbor. If you've been to the port before, you'll definitely have seen the huge lift. I've heard it's no small feat to make one of that scale. Not only that, but it's also designed to work using multiple energy sources. If you know any super rich merchants, that want to build really tall buildings, you can invite them to Fontaine to hire the designers of that lift. Or at least the people they taught their craft to. Passengers, if you look into the distance, you'll see Elinas, large as a mountain. The hometown of us Melusines, Mercy Village, is right over there. There's a story about our hometown that I really liked growing up. The legends say that long ago, Elinas came to Fontaine and asked the people, "Is there anything I can do?" At the time, we Melusines were super tiny, and our hands were even smaller. And we were so sad that we couldn't build houses like everyone else. So the people said in unison, "Then why don't you become the home of the Melusines?" And thus Elinas just rolled over right there, and poof! It's been a few hundred years since then. When you think about it, everyone in Fontaine and Elinas really is gentle and kind. Okay, our boat is now passing through Poisson Tunnel. It's said that to deal with the crisis of the Second Diluvian period, some people thought about using the tunnel boring tech to hollow out the mountain and build a city inside. But if the water covered the mountain, wouldn't the people inside suffocate? Or were they going to build a super tall tower to breathe through? A tower like that would need to be super duper huge and really strong. Even with all the engineers and workers in the country, it would take hundreds of years to finish the work. So that plan definitely wouldn't work. As the operator of our lines likes to say, We Aquabus tour guides carry a huge responsibility. Lots of tourists have no idea which shops are worth going to or what local specialties are worth buying. It's up to us to fill them in. If we tour guides do a good job, then everyone in the Court of Fontaine will earn a bunch more mora. It really motivates me when I think of how my work can have a positive influence on other people's lives. Even if there aren't many passengers, and even if I don't actually have that many stories to share, as long as I persist, the results will definitely come with time. Ding, ding, ding! Welcome to Romaritime Station, where this tour ends. Thank you for riding with us today, and if you have any suggestions or feedback, please write a letter to the tour operator. Sometimes the letters will be forwarded to me, and I'll read every single one carefully. Then, the next time you ride the Clementine line, I'll definitely provide even better commentary. And maybe, if I get enough good ratings, I'll get a bonus, and then I can treat Elfan to a huge meal. Then when you ride the Navia line, you'll meet an even happier Elfan. Welcome to the Clementine Line Aquabus. This boat tour will take you to the magnificent Court of Fontaine, the most important city in our nation. Speaking of Fontaine, you may have heard of the unique trials held in our courts, and presume this nation to be a very serious and solemn place. In reality, Fontaine is also a center of culinary and artistic delights, full of fine architecture, music, paintings, and delicacies, each of which are well worth experiencing for yourself. Why is architecture first in this list, you might ask? For good reason. Because for any new passengers, you'll get your very first look at the splendor of the Court of Fontaine towards the end of this tour. So keep your eyes peeled and prepare to gasp with amazement when the moment comes. We're about to pass through Poisson Tunnel now. The Fontaine Research Institute used huge engineering devices to complete the boring work, vastly reducing the amount of manual labor required. The success of the tunnel project was a proof of concept for the potential of Core Clockwork Mecha, and the Institute developed a simplified version for mass release shortly afterward. So it's fair to say that the Clementine line is a monument to Fontaine's scientific progress. If you look closely, you might notice that a lot of Clockwork Mecha have a helical gear shape printed on them. This means it uses the kinetic core designed by Alain Guillotin. This kind of core... let me remember what the tour guidebook said. These cores can utilize the power produced by the mutual annihilation of Usia and Numa energies. Yep. What does annihilation mean? Is it like being extinguished? Speaking of our Chief Justice, Monsieur Neuvillette, dear passengers, please don't hold back your feelings of respect and adoration. Monsieur Neuvillette is the pillar of all of Fontaine. He never misses a single public trial at the Opera Epiclese, and he still has so much other work to do. And despite all this, he's still so patient and gentle towards us Melusines. To me, it's obvious that without him, all of Fontaine would grind to a halt. I'm just a nobody. I've never even had a chance to speak to him. But maybe y'all get a chance. We've arrived! Has the calm breeze and gentle swaying of the boat made you sleepy? It's understandable. The Aquabus service strives to provide a relaxing journey for all passengers. Dozing off to a Melusine commentary with the beautiful sights of Fontaine around you must surely be a recipe for a sweet dream. Maybe I can take a part-time job telling bedtime stories to kids. Or I could just record the tour commentary. Lesto's workshop sells all kinds of curious clockwork mecha, maybe even custom voice recording equipment. Welcome to the Clementine Line Aquabus. This boat tour will take you to the magnificent Court of Fontaine, the most important city in our nation. I'm Aeval, and I'll be your tour guide for this trip. Even though I'm not as reliable as Elfan from the Navia line, I'll still do my very best. And if you're dissatisfied with anything, feel free to let me know right away. Oh, wait a sec. It's, please contact a staff member with your feedback after reaching the station, and we will address your concerns as soon as possible. Back on topic. The destination of this trip will be the Court of Fontaine. If you'd like to learn more about the latest technological developments in Fontaine, the hottest new trends in cuisine, or upcoming sensational trials, please subscribe to the Steambird. Of course, there are also Melusines like Sijuin. She works in the Fortress of Meropide taking care of sick and injured people. Oh, maybe you don't already know. The Fortress of Meropide is a place filled with tons of people. Everyone inside works really hard and has a very ordered life. Elfan has said that the people living inside maybe don't like Melusines that much, but since you're humans, it should be fine for you to visit. There's a certain phrase I hear all the time out on the streets these days. Fontaine's water level is currently in the second Diluvian period. Some people are terrified out of their minds. Others have started anxiously looking for ways to protect themselves. The workers and merchants have been promoting a ton of new products, like waterproof safes for use underwater, heavy-duty dive suits, and I hear they're even building underwater houses. Of course, most of those are big, expensive, and really useless. If you ask me, I don't think there's anything to be afraid of. Living underwater isn't any more difficult than living on dry land for Melusines. It's just, you can't cook hot meals, so that kind of stinks. If you look closely, you might notice that a lot of Clockwork Mecha have a helical gear shape printed on them. This means it uses the kinetic core designed by Alain Guillotin. This kind of core... let me remember what the tour guidebook said. These cores can utilize the power produced by the mutual annihilation of Usia and Numa energies. Yep. What does annihilation mean? Is it like being extinguished? We've arrived! Has the calm breeze and gentle swaying of the boat made you sleepy? It's understandable. The Aquabus service strives to provide a relaxing journey for all passengers. Dozing off to a Melusine commentary with the beautiful sights of Fontaine around you must surely be a recipe for a sweet dream. Maybe I can take a part-time job telling bedtime stories to kids, or I could just record the tour commentary. Lesto's workshop sells all kinds of curious clockwork mecha, maybe even custom voice recording equipment.